going on, everyone? Daniel here. Welcome to my Arrow Season 5, Episode 2 spoiler review. Make sure you have seen the episode. It should take me 2 minutes to recap the episode, then give you the pros, cons, and final score. Thanks so much for joining me. Also, if you guys have not seen my Arrow Season 5 premiere review from last week, it will be in the description down below. I urge you to go and check it out. I talk straight from the heart, man, and tell you my feelings about Arrow over the past few years. And it's the first 2 minutes, and I just let my heart out, and I tell you my thoughts on how Arrow has been so far, and how I love the Season 5 premiere so much. So if you guys want to check out the review, I definitely recommend you guys to, again, inscription down below. So we begin this week's episode with the Green Arrow saving Wild Dog from falling to his death. And he invites him to this training session because he's building up this team. So we have this young girl who played the Black Canary, I believe, because she played the mantle after Black Canary. She was like the copycat Black Canary. And then we have Curtis, and then we have Wild Dog, which is, his name's Renee. So he does this whole thing where he's like, on the line. You gotta get on the line, you gotta get past me, you gotta ring that bell. That's their training. So he's beating them up pretty badly, where I'm like, are you sure you're not going to like make them bleed internally? Because he was beating them up pretty badass, man. Evelyn ends up getting hit, or excuse me, this guy named this guy named Evan or something, he gets killed by what I thought was tentacles, a guy with tentacles. But it's actually a guy with these magical rags, and his name is Ragman. So there's this event going on, and Oliver Queen, of course, Green Arrow has his team around in this area, but they don't know that he's Oliver Queen. So he's in his regular clothes. He goes into this building where he's doing this charity event thing, and Ragman ends up attacking this girl. He ends up escaping, and the two quit the team. The young girl ends up quitting the team, and Renee quits the team, and the bell test is for them to work together. But Curtis says, you don't trust us. You don't even want us to be part of the team. That's why I can't, trust you either, so I quit. So Curtis ends up quitting as well. The Amber Tech girl is making a deal with Tobias Church, so a person who is working with Oliver Queen is now working for the bad person, or making a deal with the bad person. Ragman was helping all along. Ragman is not there to hurt Oliver Queen. He's there to hurt the girl from Amber Tech. So Diggle is in a setup. He's back, of course, in Iraq or in the Middle East, and he's doing this job, and his own brothers in the military end up screwing him over and are going to frame him for the death of a soldier and for what went down where he was at in the trap. So Ragman attacks Tobias at this meeting, and the Green Arrow shows up and he helps out as well. Ragman will join Arrow and be part of Team Arrow as well. The three come back, Renee come back, and the Black Canary girl comes back, as well as Curtis. And at the end, Prometheus ends up attacking Tobias, and he says like, Prometheus, because his name's Prometheus, which leaves me, just the way he was like, leave Green Arrow to me, the way that he said it all, and I'm just thinking to myself, it has to be Tommy Merlin. It has to be him. Just listen to the way he was talking, like, I must have him, like, good, don't kill him, he's left for me. It has to be Tommy. There has to be some way it's Tommy corrupted. I'm surprised we haven't even seen Malcolm Merlin yet this season. But anyway, that was the episode. Now on to the pros and cons. Now, I absolutely loved the action and the choreography in this episode, just like I did last week's. I'm also very interested in seeing more of Ragman. I thought he's a very interesting character. I like the effects and the fight scenes that he's in. He's one of the most interesting characters to ever come on Arrow. And I'm glad, because the first glance of him, you think that he's going to be a villain. So I'm very happy that he's actually a good guy for once, and they kind of have the same background, him and Oliver, in a way, where his father gave him these robes, and it's a family pass down, and the thing is they have, like, their dads did something to them, or in a way, like, where they, have to continue their legacy, or they have to do this, or they have to do that, and I love how he even reveals himself to Oliver Queen in a way of the Green Arrow, where he reveals and he's like, he's not hiding behind the mask. He actually took it off and he showed who he is. He gave us fine details of his background, and short and simple and sweet. Now, something I forgot to mention last week in the premiere, I believe I forgot to mention, but it's the same this week. And I said last week, I love the way how Green Arrow is more brutal. I love the way he kills now. I love that he's not holding back. That's the Green Arrow that we deserve. And the thing is he's even amazing this week as well with how dark and deep he is with his voice. You know, when he does the monitor and it makes his voice dark and everything. But he's like, on the line. Like the way that he does the voice. It just makes him more intimidating and more aggressive. And he's not being like a little wimp. Or he's not like, like, you know what I mean? He's like, everyone, I told you to do something. Like, he could feel the frustration, even though he's using a voice modulator. It still shows the frustration, and it's just something that I like more about the Green Arrow. How, just, I don't know, it's just something about the voice modulator and him using a deep voice that makes him just so more badass. I also thought the ending was perfect. Now, I thought Tobias was gonna die. I literally was like, wait, didn't they hire him to be like the villain for the first part of the season? I was like, they're not going to kill him off like that, right? That's stupid. He barely did anything this episode. So I'm glad Tobias is still going to be around, hopefully for a very long time, because I like Chad L. Coleman as the villain. But it's a great way to tease Promethea. They teased him at the end of the episode last week, and they tease him again. If you keep on teasing him little by little by little every single week, that's going to be really great. But I just love the way he had a Tommy Merlin feeling. Leave Green Arrow to me, Prometheus. Like, it was pretty badass. Definitely with last week's episode and this week's episode, you can feel like the writers are turning the tide around. That they're switching everything up and they're kind of rebooting the series in a way where last week felt like a season 1 episode, and that's what I love about it, is that they're finally going back to the basics. No more, not too hard, and Felicity's not annoying now. She was a little annoying this episode. I will say Felicity almost cried in a few scenes. You need to stop, Oliver, because you can do, like, she did almost cry, and I was like, don't go back to that. No. You were doing good. Don't mess with that, because they literally almost made her cry in a scene, and I was like, don't mess up, guys. You did a great episode last week. Do not mess it up with bringing Felicity into the fold even more. Have her behind a desk, and that's it. I don't want to see her out off behind the desk. Keep her on the desk, and that's it. Just like she was in season 1 and the most of season 2. But what I was saying was the opening when Green Arrow ends up saving Wild Dog, and literally he almost fell to his death, and just the stunts that they were doing, just the little minor stunts getting past obstacles, and then the Green Arrow saved him, and then he ended up shooting the bad guy that Wild Dog was after. So again, I thought that was a really, 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 really awesome opening. Also, the flashbacks were just Oliver Queen trying to get into Bravta, and he had to ring the bell as well. That's where he got the training session from, to tell the guys is, get on the line, get past the bell. And the thing is, he did teamwork, and he ended up getting the 3 other guys killed. But I love that whole flashback stuff there. So far, the flashbacks haven't been annoying. At least we're not on that stupid island right now. We're getting pretty dark, and even the choreography there and the fighting was really good. I mean, he got hit pretty bad, and he's like, almost again, like, I'm like, shouldn't you be internally bleeding? Now, I will say this, Lance felt a little bit off this week, and I know he's back to drinking, he's going back to being an alcoholic, and that's not the thing. I know he could play that off. I know Paul Blackthorne could play that off really well, because he did it back in season 1 and season 2, but the thing is he just felt off this week. I mean, it didn't feel like Captain Lance, and we've seen him as an alcoholic, we've seen him as a douche, we've seen him as a dick, but he literally, this week, he was like, oh, well, anything to help you out with, I guess. Like, it didn't feel like Captain Lance whatsoever. And no, it's not because he's drinking. Yeah, I just already mentioned that he's drinking. But it doesn't feel like, it just felt off. It wasn't interesting as I thought it would have been. Last week, I enjoyed the more, Captain Lance scenes were way better last week than what they were this week. Now going on to the cons, probably one of the biggest plot holes about this episode, when Ragman attacked the girl at the charity event, or the event that Oliver Queen was going to, that little medical thing that they were doing the medical and medicine to. How did he change into the Green Arrow costume? He had like a suit on and everything, he didn't have a bag with him, so how did he turn into the Green Arrow? I don't understand. That has to be a plot hole, because he literally changed within 10 seconds, less than 10 seconds. How did he do it? There is no way he had the time. That to put on the suit and the boots and everything at least takes 2 minutes. At least 2 minutes to get everything on and get prepped up. That was just a little silly right there. Also, people who have been watching my Arrow reviews for the past few years, you kind of already know that I'm not a big fan of Thea. I don't like Thea. I used to, but she just thinks she could do anything. She thinks that she's a good, she thinks she's a big adult. Oh, look at me, I'm a big adult. Sure, but you're not 50 years old. You're acting like you're a 50-year-old woman or something. You have to act like you have responsibilities and this and that and your stupid relationship with Roy. I mean, Thea was so boring this episode. I was like, boo, Thea. And like she was listening into the conversation on the roof. And I'm just saying, like, why couldn't we keep Thea dead when she died a long time ago, like 2 seasons ago? It would have been great. You could have kept her dead, and that's it. That would have been the end of it. We could have had an even better season. But just boo with all of Thea this episode. I mean, she's talking to Lance, and she's like, well, let me talk to Lance. Let me tell him this. Like, you can tell Lance what to do. Lance is totally older than you, and if he wants to do what he wants to do, then he can do it. And if he wants to drink during the day, he could drink during the day. You can't tell him or you can't force him to stop drinking. If, he can drink on the job if he wants, because he's a grown man and he'll do what he wants. You know what I'm saying? Also, back to Felicity. I really don't care about her boyfriend. I think she shouldn't have nobody should have a love life in this show. No more love. Let's just get right to the action. The only love that should have been was Black Canary and Green Arrow, and that was the only love that should have ever been. No more love, no more yada yada. That's the one thing that I don't like about this season so far. It's Felicity and her boyfriend. Felicity was fine until there was love last week. And we don't know anything about her boyfriend. You notice that there's no explanation on her boyfriend. Could he be Prometheus? I don't think so, but he's just some random guy that showed up on the show, so can he be somebody that... I don't think he's a good guy. Look at the way he looks. Just look. You can't tell me... He looks like he's straight out of Narcos. He has to be some sort of bad guy. As much as I love Diggle, I didn't really dig this week's episode. Just especially the way it was done, because I'm thinking to myself, I'd rather see more Ragman. I'd rather see Arrow going after Tobias. I'd rather see Green Arrow training the trainees. I'd rather see that than see Diggle doing the whole, oh, go down, like all this, and it's an interesting story on how they're framing him and all that. That's interesting. But again, it's just the weakest part of the episode was Felicity's thing with her boyfriend, Thea being Thea, and Diggle's story arc. That's just the 3 stuff that I really wasn't a big fan of, as well as Green Arrow. How did he end up changing his clothes and all that. Anyway, I thought this week's episode of Arrow was really good. Not great. There were great moments in this episode, but overall, it's just a really good episode. So I'm going to give Arrow Season 5, Episode 2, a B+. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed, make sure to smack the like button. You can comment down below to me what you guys thought about the episode. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Make sure to share this review with your friends and hit that subscribe button for more awesome Arrow reviews weekly. Till next time, join the Big D Nation. Let's grow this community. As well, I review other CW shows such as Supergirl, The Flash, No Tomorrow, Frequency, Supernatural, and Legends of Tomorrow. Almost forgot that. So, thanks again. Till next time. Bye-bye.